What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Quincy Ball Sports. And this episode is something I'm very excited for. We are 6 days and counting from opening day of the 2020 MLB season. And here are going to be my record predictions. And this season is going to be none like any other, because it's a 60-game sprint. Whoever gets out fast, starts out fast, they could win it. I mean, this season is going to be unlike any other we've seen. I'm being completely honest when I say any team has a shot to make the playoffs. Even you Tigers, Marlins, Mariners, and Orioles. Even you guys have a chance to make the playoffs. But today we are going to be going through record predictions, award predictions, and last but most certainly not least, playoff predictions. So without further ado, let's get into the division standing predictions. We will start with the AL East. So coming in last place in the AL East for 2020, I have the Baltimore Orioles. This team was not good at all last year, finishing 54-108. That's only a .333 winning percentage. They weren't good at home. They weren't good on the road. That's not to say that this team doesn't have some bright spots. John Means and Alex Cobb are decent pitchers. Anthony Santander, Jose Iglesias, Michael Givens is a pretty good reliever out of the pen. Alex Cobb can get it done, but with their top outfielder Trey Mancini going to be gone for the season due to cancer, I wish him a very speedy recovery. I mean, guys like Austin Hayes can show flashes, but all around, I don't think it is going to be a very good year in Baltimore this year for baseball. I mean, some players to watch. Renato Nunez has a lot of pop in his bat. I think he had 30 homers last year, and Henzer Alberto had the lowest strikeout percentage in all of baseball last year. So I think they have some positives to work on. Maybe they can get out of the gate fast this year, but I don't see it being a very good season for Baltimore. They are still in the rebuilding phase. Maybe call up Adley Rutschman, give him some at-bats, but the future is bright in Baltimore. And I do think they will eventually finish last, however. Coming in fourth place in the American League East, I have the Toronto Blue Jays. This team finished 67-95 last year for a .414 winning percentage, a pretty bad run differential towards the bottom in the MLB. But this team has a very bright future. Vlad Guerrero Jr., Blow Bichette, Lourdes Gurriel Jr., Kevin Biggio. This team definitely has some talent on it. Hyunjin Ryu, they got via trade as a blockbuster. He is so underrated. I really think he will shine in Toronto. They got Shun Yamaguchi from Japan. Teoscar Hernandez, Anthony Alfred, Rowdy Tellez could be some pretty decent role players. Ken Giles is a very good option coming out of the bullpen. But I just think this team is too young, and I feel like young teams are at a huge disadvantage with this sort of weird shortened season, whereas I think veterans could be able to adjust more. I do think they are close. They're going to be right behind the next team on our list, but I just think the Blue Jays they're just one step away. They're really close. They're on the cusp of contending, but I just don't give them maybe 1 or 2 years and they will be ready. But as of now, I just don't think they're ready yet. They still need Guerrero, Biggio, or not Guerrero, Biggio, Bichette, just some time to develop. Coming in third place, directly above the Blue Jays, and almost put the Blue Jays ahead of this team, the Boston Red Sox. They had a pretty bad sort of, I guess, World Series hangover. They got off to a terrible start to the season. Rebounded sort of towards the middle, but ended up finishing 84-78, 12 games out of a playoff spot. The only reason I have them above the Blue Jays is they have so much talent on the team. I just don't think you can deny how much they have. They just got Alex Verdugo in a trade. Even though they do lose Mookie Betts, they still have a ton of talent. Chris Sale is still great. JD Martinez is one of the best hitters in all of baseball. It's a shame he can't field. Rafael Devers led the MLB in hits. Xander Bogaerts is a star in this league. Jackie Bradley Jr. is a defensive wizard. Michael Chavis can go on a run at any point. Matt Barnes is a good reliever. Mitch Moreland is a terrific bench bat. They have so many great players on the team. It's just, I don't know if the pitching has enough depth. They still have Sale, and he's still amazing. But I don't see the sort of longevity in the pitching. I mean, Eduardo Rodriguez is your second pitcher, and I mean, he's good, but you really don't have much of a rotation after that. And the bullpen is definitely spotty. Matt Barnes and Brandon Workman were really the only two people that were consistently performing, and Brandon Workman really kind of just turned it on towards the end of the year. So I ultimately have the Red Sox finishing in third place. Coming in second, and a very, very close second. I wanted to put this team first so badly, but just couldn't. The Tampa Bay Rays. This is one of the most exciting teams to watch in all of baseball. Finished 96-66 last year, destroyed the Oakland Athletics in the wild card game, and then lost in 5 games of the divisional series to the Houston Astros. That was a very great, hard-fought series. They have tons of talent on their roster, and it starts with the pitching. Charlie Morton, Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, and Ryan Yarborough spearhead a terrific rotation. Diego Castillo, Jose Alvarado, and Nick Anderson spearhead one of MLB's best bullpens. Getting into the lineup, new additions Hunter Renfroe and Jose Martinez will add to players like Brandon Lowe, G-Man Choi. Austin Meadows will be out for a little bit because he does have COVID, but I do expect him to be back. They just got what's his name? That Tatsugo dude from Japan. Kevin Kiermaier still the best defensive player in all of baseball. Don't let anyone tell you differently. Mike Zunino is a solid catcher. Joey Wendell, Manuel Margot can be a platoon with Kevin Kiermaier. Willie Adames is one of the best arms in the MLB at shortstop. Who else do we have? That's really all the real notable names. Colin Poche and Chaz Rowe out of the bullpen has the best slider movement in baseball based on just like breaks. So this team is absolutely phenomenal. No weak spots. They do everything well, and I'm really close to putting them at the top of the division. I honestly think this will take a game 163, or in this situation, game 61. There will be a tiebreaker needed between this team, and you already know who's going to be winning the division, but a tiebreaker will be needed. This team is so good. They're so massively underrated. And the thing is, they'll be fine with no fans because no one comes to their games in the first place. The Tampa Bay Rays are a terrific team, and I do have them snagging a wild card spot in 2020. And coming in first place for the AL East, the New York Yankees. I mean, I didn't want to be boring. I wanted to put Tampa Bay here, but this team is such a great team. They finished 103-59 last year. Finished 2 games out of the World Series. Altuve did have a wire in his chest, so that's really the only reason they didn't get to the roster. Judge, Cole, Stanton, Chapman, Torres, LeMahieu, Gardner, Urshela, Paxton, Severino, Sanchez, Andujar, Herman, Hicks, Canely, Wade, Voit. Just an endless amount of names. Tauchman, Britton, Chad Green, Adam Ottavino, Luis Sessa, Jonathan Holder. This team is just, they're complete from top to bottom. They're just like the Rays. They don't do anything wrong. I mean, anything is everything is a strong spot for this team. They're the Yankees. They have 27 world titles. But I do think the Rays are just breathing down their neck. But I just think they're the way better team. They just got Garrett Cole, which makes a great team even better. I mean, imagine a 103-win team adding the best pitcher in baseball. Just think about that. The Yankees are going to win the division. I do think the Rays are right there. But it's got to be the Yankees. This team is amazing. They're probably the favorites to win the World Series, in my opinion. So, to recap, we have the Yankees finishing first, winning the division. Rays in second, grabbing a wild card spot. Red Sox in third, Blue Jays in fourth, and then the Orioles bringing up the rear. That will round out your AL East standings. Okay, let's move on to the American League Central. Now, finishing in last place, by far the worst team in baseball, the Detroit Tigers. Calling this team a dumpster fire would be an insult to dumpster fires. This team is absolute trash. I'm going to name off some players on their roster. You tell me how many you've heard of before. Miguel Cabrera, Cameron Maymon, Jacoby Jones, Daniel Norris, C.J. Cron, Michael Fulmer, Nico Goodrum, Spencer Turnbull, Matthew Boyd, Christian Stewart, Jonathan Scope, Travis Dimitri, Austin Romine, Harold Castro, Victor Reyes, Jordan Zimmerman, Ivan Noma, Heimer Candelario, Eric Hayes, Grayson Greiner. Yeah, I don't think you said too many. I'd be surprised if this team wins 15 games this year. This team is one of the worst teams I've ever seen. I mean, positives, Matt Manning and Casey Mize are 2 star pitching prospects in the minor leagues. If they can develop brightly, that'll be a terrific 1-2 punch for the future. And the future is all you can really look at if you are a Detroit Tigers fan. I think they're definitely going to finish last in baseball this year. I mean, Matthew Boyd is a very good pitcher. I mean, it's not all bad in Detroit. Coming in fourth is a team that I think has some pieces but just can't put it all together. the Kansas City Royals only had 59 wins last year. They have some stars on their team. Whit Merrifield, I think he had 200 hits last year. Jorge Soler, I think, at 40-something home runs. Adalberto Mondesi, a great switch hitting shortstop with some speed. But, I mean, they really don't have much after that, and their pitching is just... I mean, Brad Keller, Danny Duffy, it looks like that's about it. Stephen Woods Jr., Trevor Rosenthal, Scott Barlow, yeah, not looking great. Jake Junis, Mike Montgomery, Ian Kennedy, Jorge Lopez, Kevin McCarthy, Chance Adams, not necessarily household names. Do have top prospect Bobby Witt Jr., maybe he comes up at some point this year, but I do have the Royals finishing 4th in the AL Central. Coming in 3rd place, we have the Cleveland Indians. Now, a lot of you are going to be upset with me, but this team does not look as impressive as it once thought of to me. I mean, this team was very good last year, finishing 93 and 69. But, they lost Corey Kluber and Delino DeShields and only really they got Delino DeShields in return. Emmanuel Clase is going to be out for the entire year. They still have Lindor. Ramirez has not been great as of late. Had that outstanding 2018 and then really regressed in 2019. Clevenger and Bieber are going to try to manage the rotation as all they can. They do have some power bats with Carlos Santana, Franmil Reyes, and Domingo Santana, but all around, I really don't think that this team looks complete, and I think there are 2 teams in the division that are just ultimately better than the Indians, who I see finishing in 3rd place. Coming in 2nd place in the AL Central. I'm not going to tell you this team gets a wild card spot yet. I'm going to keep you on your toes. I have the Chicago White Sox. This team finished only 72 and 89 last year, 28.5 games back of the divisional title, but they have a lot of young talent, and I think that this is the year that they finally put it together. They made some big moves in the offseason that I think are going to pan out. Edwin Encarnacion, Yasmani Grandal, Dallas Keuchel, and Nomar Mazara all joined the team. Reigning AL batting champ Tim Anderson still on the team. Yohan Moncada, great switch hitting third base. I think he plays third base primarily. Eloy Jimenez, young power hitting left fielder. Jose Abreu can rake. One of the most underrated players in all of baseball. Lucas Giolito, Dylan Cease, Carlos Rodon, Carson Fulmer made a good but not great pitching rotation. Steve Cishek was an addition to the bullpen. Adam Engel's one of the fastest players in baseball. They still have Kelvin Herrera and Alex Colomé for the bullpen. But they have a lot of really, really young players with a lot of talent. Top prospect Luis Robert, I don't know how you say his name. Michael Kopech is going to be missing the entire season. That's a big buzzkill. But they got Nick Madrigal, Andrew Vaughn, Dane Dunning. This team is the future of baseball. I think they finished 2nd in the division, and this is the year they finally put it all together. And winning the division, one of the best teams in all of baseball, set the MLB record for home runs in a season by a team. The Minnesota Twins. This team can absolutely mash. Let's go around the infield first. Catching, Mitch Garver had 35 homers last year, something like that. This dude can absolutely rake. Infielders, they have Jorge Polanco, who I think can win the batting title this year. This guy's a great contact hitting shortstop. He absolutely rakes. He's kind of a terrible fielder, but Jorge Polanco can absolutely rake. Josh Donaldson at third base, they just picked him up. This guy still has a lot of pop in his bat, even at, I think, 39 years old. Second base, Luis Arias, a slap little contact hitter. He's sort of like a dead ball era player who's making it work right now. I think he can also push for that batting card. He might bat 400 in a shortened season. I'm not capping when I say that. Byron Buxton, Max Kepler, Eddie Rosario in the outfield. Those guys can absolutely mash. And designated hitter Nelson Cruz, who led the MLB in home runs on a rate basis. If you would have played more games, you would have hit 55 home runs. This dude can absolutely rake. Jose Barrios and Jake Odorizzi spearhead a good rotation, but that's probably the only thing holding them back for maybe a World Series appearance. Picked up Kenta Maeda in the offseason. They still have Trevor May holding down the bullpen. This team can absolutely mash, and I think that they are going to win the AL Central by a landslide. So we have Minnesota winning the division, White Sox coming in second, the Indians in third, the Royals in fourth, and the Tigers coming in last. I'm not going to tell you if Chicago gets a wild card spot just yet, because we have to go to the AL West. Coming in last in the AL West, and, I sympathize with this team, and it's the Seattle Mariners. You see, not all is bad in Seattle. They started off 13-2 last year. They can do that again. They might make the playoffs, because that might be all you need in a 60-game season. But this team is not as bad as you would otherwise think. They finished 68-94, which is pretty bad. But the Angels, who everyone thinks is going to be a really good team this year, was 72-90. So they were only like 4 games behind the Angels. This team, not a lot of star power on the team. You still got Kyle Seager. You still got Mitch Haniger. You got Austin Nola, Daniel Vogelback, Yusei Kikuchi. Prospect Evan White will be called up this year. He will be getting a lot of playing time. But not all is bad in Seattle. They have top prospect Jared Kelenic. I think he's the 11th ranked prospect in baseball. This guy can absolutely mash and is a terrific fielder in the field. Julio Rodriguez can absolutely mash as a prospect. And they got Logan Gilbert, also top prospect. So not all is bad in Seattle. They still got D. Gordon. They still got J.P. Crawford. Justice Sheffield. There's some talent on the team. But you're probably not going to be great this year. But in the future, the Mariners could be a team to watch out for. Coming in fourth place, I have the Texas Rangers. Like, this team, their pitching is great. They had 2 top 10 AL Cy Young finishes from Lance Lynn and Mike Minor, and added Corey Kluber. The pitching is great. They have some decent hitters like Danny Santana. Joey Gallo can kill baseballs to the moon. Willie Calhoun, Shin-Soo Choo, Elvis Andrus, Ronald Guzman, Isaiah Connor, Falefa. But really not that much star power on the team. They don't have one guy they can really rely on. Everyone else in their division got better besides the Mariners, and I just don't think this team is really ready to compete yet. And with everyone in their division, this is a hyper-competitive division. I just think that fourth place is what we can expect from the Rangers. All right, coming in third place, I have the Houston Astros, and here is why. This team just completely choked in the World Series, had a lead in Game 7 in the late innings, lost that. They're already in a bad place mentally. On top of that, we know this team is full of cheaters who can't be trusted, and they won't have their trash cans to help them this year. And every single team in the MLB is going to play their best games against the Astros. They're going to throw everything in the kitchen sink to beat the Astros, especially a team like the Mariners, who probably we won't make the playoffs. Their entire season is going to revolve around beating the Astros. The Astros are going to get every team's best game. And, I mean, they're still full of talent. Altuve, Bregman, Verlander, Springer, Correa, Alvarez, Gurriel, Greinke. They're still full of talent, but they're in a terrible place mentally. I don't think they are going to handle it well. This team is a bunch of cowards who cannot be trusted. They can't cheat this year, and I think they are ultimately going to suffer and have a terrible season by their standards. Third place for the Astros. Finishing in second place, I have the Los Angeles Angels. This team made vast improvements in the offseason, getting Anthony Rendon, who is a top 5 player in baseball. They also have another top 5 player in baseball in Trout, and easily a top 15 player in Ohtani. Other than those 3, you still have Andrelton Simmons, one of the best defensive players in all of baseball. David Fletcher, also a very good defensive player. Brian Goodwin can rake. Telling you that right now. Andrew Heaney is another solid starting pitcher. He'll be the 1B to Ohtani's 1A. Julio Teheran can be solid. Tommy La Stella has shown strides throughout the year. The only thing that's going to hold this team back is the bullpen. It is bad. Hansel Robles and maybe Ryan Buchter, not great. That's the only thing that's going to hold this team back, but they've made plenty of strides, and I think at this team, it will finish second in the AL West, and I think they snag a wild card spot. I think that the Angels will be playing the Tampa Bay Rays in the AL wild card game. Like this team a lot, I think that they can easily finish second in this division. And winning the division, I have the Oakland Athletics. This team won 97 games last year. They are definitely equipped for this shortened season. They have a lot of talent on the team. Top defender and 30 home run hitter Matt Chapman. Ramon Laureano, terrific hitter, had a terrific month of July, and one of the best arms in all of baseball. Matt Olson, Marcus Semien can both absolutely rake and field very, very well. Mark Canha, one of the most underrated players in all of baseball. Sean Manaea and new prospect Jesus Luzardo, who will be playing full-time now, came up and pitched in the wild card game and really kind of halted the Rays offense when they were on a tear. It's just their offense couldn't really get going. Liam Hendricks is still in the bullpen. He is absolutely terrific. He's a top 5 reliever in all of baseball. Still have Chris Davis. Mike Fiers is solid. Tony Kemp they just got from the Cubs. This team always finds a way to win. This team finds a way to get it done in the regular season time after time, and with this shortened season where a lot of things are weird, they're going to find a way to win. The A's, they play as a team. They're terrific. I think they win the AL West. All right, now let's do awards. We're only going to do 3. We're going to do MVP, Cy Young, Rookie of the Year. I think that the Cy Young winner is going to be Garrett Cole. I think what he did with Houston is going to transfer right over to New York. I think he's going to pick up right where he left off. I think he's the best pitcher in baseball. I think he wins the Cy Young. Rookie of the Year, it's between 2 people for me. It's either Jesus Luzardo on the A's or Luis Robert on the White Sox. I love both of them. Luzardo's one of my favorite players. I think it's going to be Luis Robert, though. I think he plugs into that lineup super well in Chicago. I think he is going to win Rookie of the Year. I think he'll have more of an immediate impact than Luzardo does. Luzardo will be a close second. It'll be a close running between those guys. And then MVP, dark horse candidate, but I think he gets it done, Shohei Ohtani. In this 60-game season, you're going to need people that can do everything, and he does everything. He can pitch and hit and does both at an extremely high level. Hasn't pitched since 2018, but I think he's going to get it done. I almost had him taking Cy Young, too. But I think Shohei Ohtani wins Most Valuable Player just for the fact that he can do both those things and do both at an extremely high level. Now let's go to the National League standings. We'll start with the NL East. Coming in last place for the NL East, I have the Miami Marlins. This team finished 57-105 last year, had a terrible run differential, by far the worst of their division. They were negative 193. The next worst was Philly at only minus 20. They do have some decent players on the team. Jonathan Villar, Brian Anderson, Corey Dickerson, Garrett Cooper's pretty good. Miguel Rojas is a very good defensive shortstop. Their pitching, while not great, isn't as bad as you might think. Sandy Alcantara, Jose Urena, Caleb Smith, and Pablo Lopez can all be maybe considered solid pitchers, but they have so many other good teams in their division, and they're going to have to play the Yankees and Red Sox and Rays a lot this year since they're playing on the East teams. So I think it's ultimately going to be a tough season for the Marlins. It's one of the hardest schedules in the MLB. This is going to make some people mad. Finishing in 4th, I have the New York Mets. Yes, they still have DeGrom. They still have Syndergaard. Pete Alonso burst onto the scene last year. Michael Conforto is a very solid player. I like him a lot. Same with Jeff McNeil. But they have some guys that I'm surprised still have jobs in the MLB. Robinson Cano was not great last year. Neither really was Yoenis Cespedes. They really don't have much of a bullpen. Edwin Diaz is just a disaster waiting to happen every single time he comes on the mound. They did get Dylan Betances, but all around, I just feel like the 3 other teams in this division I think they're better than the Mets. I mean, I really just don't see much going on with this team. I mean, they missed out on a playoff spot last year because their bullpen really collapsed down the stretch. And Seth Lugo was terrific, but really, that bullpen screwed them. I just don't envision the Mets having a very good season this year. That's why I think a 4th place finish is what we can expect from them. All right, 4th place, we have Philly, and I swear this is your last chance. I was about to put them 2nd, but I thought better of it. I really should put this team 4th because I think we need to tell the Phillies that money doesn't work if you just throw it around aimlessly. But nonetheless, they have tons of talent on the team. Harper, Real Muto, Nola, Wheeler, Kingery, Hoskins, McCutchen, and Didi can still perform well. I think Gene Segura is pretty underrated. Adam Morgan and David Robertson are pretty solid hitters. MLB's best defensive left fielder, Vince Velasquez. Roman Quinn is a big speedster, and they do have Jay Bruce as a decent power bat. I think what's really going to determine whether or not this team can be either... This team can finish anywhere from 4th to 1st, but I think what the difference is going to be is how well their secondary pitchers do. So Aaron Nola's going to perform, but guys like Jake Arrieta, I can't even think of it. Guys like Vince Velasquez, Zach Eflin, Sir Anthony Dominguez, everybody on the pitching roster is going to need to perform. And if they don't, they might even finish last. Phillies are a super volatile team. I'm putting them right in the middle, 3rd for their division. Finishing 2nd in the NL East, I have the Washington Nationals. Now, they just lost top 3rd baseman Anthony Rendon, but they lost Harper last year and won the World Series, so I don't think it's really going to hurt them that much. They still have lots of good hitting on the team, although it's not the best hitting in the league that you've ever seen. They have Juan Soto, Trey Turner, newly acquired from the Brewers, Eric Thames, Howie Kendrick, new prospect coming up. I'm pretty sure he's going to get a decent amount of playing time. Carter Kieboom. Victor Robles is a terrific defender out there in center field. They still got Eaton, Castro, Gomes, and even Asdrubal Cabrera, Kurt Suzuki, and Michael Taylor can be solid players. But the 3 people that are going to carry this team, and they did it all throughout the playoffs last year: Scherzer, Strasburg, Corbin. You have a World Series MVP, a player who can get 20 strikeouts on any given night, and a lefty with a wicked slider. That's all you need to say. They're right behind the first place team, which you guys know by now, but they're neck and neck, and I think I don't know if they'll grab a wild card spot because the NL is so tightly packed. Like, the AL is super top heavy, but the NL, everyone's like tightly packed with each other, so I'll save whether or not this team will make the playoffs until a later moment. And winning the division, I have the Atlanta Braves. I mean, this is, I think, obviously the best team in that division. Their hitting is outstanding. Acuna, Freeman, Albies is that 3-headed monster. Freeman just recently recovered from COVID-19. He was back with the team today, so that's good news for him. Dansby Swanson is a nice defender over there. Markakis, I think he has COVID, but if he gets back and healthy, he is a very underrated player, great average player. And they got Marcell Ozuna, who's a solid player. And they also have prospects Austin Riley, Austin Riley's not really a prospect anymore. And then Kyle Wright, who should be getting some good pitching experience this year. They also have Mike Soroka, Max Fried. They even got Felix Hernandez in their pitcher gradation. Mike Foltynewicz, Luke Jackson. Their bullpen even has Will Smith. This team is, I think, by far and away the best team in the NL East. So your NL East standings are the Braves finishing in first place, the Nationals in second, Phillies in third, Mets in fourth, and the Marlins bringing up the rear. Let's move to the NL Central now. All right, so the one thing that's basically guaranteed for the NL Central is that the Pirates are going to finish last. This team traded for Chris Archer in exchange for Austin Meadows and Tyler Glasnow. Tell me how that worked out, Pirates fans. They really only have 3 good players, and it's Josh Bell, Brian Reynolds, and Kevin Newman. They have no pitching, none whatsoever. Josh Bell really is a superstar, though. I mean, this guy, what did he break the record for, like, the most total bases in a month in May last year? I mean, this guy is a bona fide stud, but really, he's going to have to carry you to almost all your wins. I mean, I really don't see anybody really worth mentioning. Maybe you get Mitch Keller, some pitching experience, and you just work towards the future. I mean, this team really just isn't very good at all. They don't even have that much future talent to look forward to. I mean, the Pirates are just going to finish last. Finishing in fourth, I have the St. Louis Cardinals. Now, hear me out, Cardinals fans, because I know you're yelling at me already. And I don't blame you because this team made the NLCS last year. It's just the NL Central is so tightly, they're just so compact. I mean, the Reds, Cubs, Cardinals, and Brewers can all finish anywhere from 1 to 4. But I just think that the Cardinals are going to end up finishing last. They will be without the services of Jordan Hicks out of the bullpen for the entire year. They lost Marcelo Zuna, who was a terrific performer for them down the stretch. Yadier Molina is aging. Harrison Bader's a really solid defender in center field. Paul Goldschmidt is a stud. Carlos Martinez is very underrated. Giovanni Gallegos, very solid bullpen pitcher. They still have Andrew Miller. They still got Colton Wong, Paul DeYoung. But really, the guy that is going to make or break it for the Cardinals is Jack Flaherty. This guy is a stud. Absolute stud. He finished the year on a tear last year. It's just, you never know what you're going to get from the Cardinals. They always have that one player that just like comes out of nowhere and just performs really well. That was Tommy Edman last year. Or no, it was Tommy Edman kind of the year before that. But I don't know. The NL Central is so compact. I'm just going to say that the Cardinals finished fourth. It could be like 3 games that separate 1 through 4. Finishing in third, I have the Brew Crew. They have the all-around best hitter in the National League, Christian Yelich. They have Josh Hader, a terrific left-handed bullpen piece. Ryan Braun is still solid. Brandon Woodruff, very underrated starting pitcher. Lorenzo Cain, defensive wizard in center field. Eric Sogard can be a solid hitter down the stretch. Omar Narvaez, I feel like, is going to be a very underrated pickup. I feel like he's really underrated. I feel like he's going to have a breakout year. Avisail Garcia, also very underrated. Same thing with Ben Gamel. I like this. I feel like if this team gets rolling, you're not going to be able to stop them. And with a 60-game season, that could happen. But I think they're going to have to carry off of Yelich and Hader, which I think that they can do in a 60-game season. I feel like they're more top-heavy than the Cardinals. But, I mean, literally, these teams could be pretty much interchangeable. I'll just put the Brewers first. So, Brewers, I think, will end up finishing third. Finishing in second place, I have my Chicago Cubs. Now, our hitting is some of the best baseball has to offer. Bryant, Baez, Rizzo, Contreras, Schwarber. I mean, Ian Happ's great. Nico Horner burst onto the scene in September. Bodie is also very solid. The starting pitching is good with Kyle Hendricks, Quintana, Yu Darvish. John Lester could still get it done, I feel like. The bullpen is bad. Very bad. Bottom 5 in baseball, in my opinion. That was the only thing that held me back from giving them the division. If they could just pull it all together, they could win the division and maybe even make the NLCS. But they're really going to have to get their stuff together. They're getting killed by the White Sox right now in this little exhibition game that they're playing. But I feel like the Cubs are still a solid team, and I feel like they will ultimately finish in second place in the division. They didn't really do much in the offseason. They got to do Steven Souza, Jeremy Jeffress, not really name-breaking people. But if the bullpen can perform, this team can definitely be among the MLB's best. And coming out on top in the NL Central, I think it will be the Cincinnati Reds. This team is complete from top to bottom. Starting pitching, bullpen, and the lineup, and they're the only team, I think, in the NL Central that can say that they do that well in all 3 facets of the game. They picked up Nicholas Castellanos in the offseason. Eugenio Suarez finished second in home runs. They picked up Mike Moustakas. Nick Senzel is a great utility player you can put pretty much anywhere. Jesse Winker is solid. I saw him hit a home run. They have Sonny Gray, Luis Castillo, and who am I missing? Trevor Bauer in the starting rotation. Their bullpen is good too. I mean, I don't know how good Pedro Strope's going to be, but they got Amir Garrett. I think that would be considered the weak spot. They do have Raisel Iglesias too, who's really good, but that would be probably the weakest spot of the team. But they could have Castellanos be their DH. They got Shogo Akiyama. I don't know how good he's going to be, but he's there, and I just think this team is complete from top to bottom. Plus, they have the easiest schedule in all of baseball. I think for the cross-division games, they play like the Royals and the Tigers more than like anyone else. So their schedule is just an absolute cupcake. And yeah, that's how I think the NL Central is going to come out. Reds in first, Cubs in second, Brewers in third, Cardinals in fourth, and the Pirates bringing up the rear. We have one more division to go. Let's go to the NL West. Coming in last place in the NL West, I have the San Francisco Giants. They will be without the services of Buster Posey for the entire year, and there really isn't much talent on the team. Hunter Pence, Mike Yastrzemski's actually really good, but other than that, I mean, Brandon Crawford, Evan Longoria has declined a lot. Brandon Belt really can't even hit the ball anymore. Alex Dickerson was pretty solid last year. I mean, their pitching also isn't great. Drew Smyly, Tyler Anderson, Tyler Rogers, Trevor Gott, Johnny Cueto, I mean, Billy Hamilton. Really not a lot of talent to go around on this team. With Posey being out, though, you guys will get to see, I would assume, top prospect Joey Bart. But other than that, it's not going to be a great season for the San Francisco Giants. In fourth place, I have the Colorado Rockies. Now, this team has a lot of hitting talent. Nolan Arenado, Charlie Blackmon, Trevor Story, David Dahl, Daniel Murphy. Even top prospect Brendan Rodgers can come up and make an impact. There are a lot of people on this team. It's not just at Coors. These people can hit anywhere. Garrett Hampson's a speedster. I think he might be breaking out this year. The bad thing is the pitching. It's one of the worst baseball has to offer. Coors Field is where pitchers go to die. I mean, John Gray and Herman Marquez are the only pitchers I would even consider MLB caliber. I mean, who else do you have? Kyle Freeland had an amazing wild card game against the Cubs. I was at that game. He regressed dramatically. I don't even know if he's still in the MLB anymore. Scott Oberg in the bullpen. Wade Davis has regressed dramatically. Antonio Senzatella, Jeff Hoffman, Chichi Gonzalez. Yeah, their pitching is awful. I don't care if you have the best lineup in MLB history. If your pitching is this bad, you're not going to make the playoffs. And I don't see the Rockies make the playoffs, and that's why I think fourth place is what we can expect from them. Coming in third place this year, I have the San Diego Padres. This team is a team of the future. They have a ton of great prospects, specifically Mackenzie Gore and Luis Patino, two top pitchers, who I hope we get to see this year. I don't know if we will or not. They just traded outfielder Franchi Cordero for left-handed reliever Tim Hill, who adds to one of MLB's best bullpens with Emilio Pagan and Kirby Yates. They're the left side of their infield with Tatis and Machado, two superstars there. Even Eric Hosmer can still be solid. I feel like Trent Grisham also will be a solid addition, because he really performed well down the stretch for the Brewers. They also traded Hunter Renfroe for Tommy Pham. I mean, they're about equal in skill levels. Just Pham's more of a contact average hitter. Renfroe just hits more home runs. I think it's about an even trade for both sides. They still have Joey Lucchesi and Chris Paddock for the pitching right now. I think they're a great team, and they're right behind my second place team. It was really I was close between these two teams, but I think Padres third place. They might even snag a wild card spot with this. I'm going to keep you waiting till we're done with all the standings, but Padres, they're a good team. Coming in second place, a team I like a lot. The Arizona Diamondbacks. They have a superstar in Ketel Marte. And yes, this dude is a stud switch hitter, plays defense great. He can play anywhere on the field. They have Starling Marte. They got him in the offseason. Eduardo Escobar and David Peralta can both crush the ball. I think Christian Walker and Cole Calhoun both even had 30 homers. Someone check me on that. And they got starting pitcher Madison Bumgarner, who I think can be pretty solid. Not more than pretty solid. He can be a great addition for their team. Go along with Nick Ahmed, who I think was top 5 in total defensive runs saved last year, and MLB's leading base stealer Tim LaCastro. You have a solid, complete team, and I think that the Diamondbacks can easily finish second in the division and easily make a playoff spot. I'll tell you when we're done with this division whether or not they make the playoff spot. But this team, they are complete. They have no weaknesses. Maybe the bullpen could be a weakness. I mean, it's not great. Archie Bradley is probably your best reliever. Yeah, their bullpen's pretty bad, but I think they could probably get over that weakness. Diamondbacks are finishing in second place. I love this team. Winning the NL West, in my opinion, the best team in all of baseball, the Los Angeles Dodgers. They have the reigning NL MVP, Cody Bellinger, and some say he's not even the best outfielder on the team now because they got Mookie Betts. Not me. I think Bellinger's better. They have Jock Peterson, Justin Turner, Corey Seager, Kike Hernandez, Gavin Lux. Will Smith is a very solid catcher. He showed flashes down the stretch. They have prospects Dustin May and Gavin Lux. Brusdar Graterol might even come up and make an impact. Max Muncy hits bombs. Walker Buehler could be a Cy Young candidate. Kershaw is still great. Their bullpen just added Blake Trinan. They still have Pedro Baez, Caleb Ferguson, Adam Kolarek. Matt Beaty's a good bench bat. They got Alex Wood back. I mean, they just have an endless supply of talent on the team. There's no way that they don't win this division. If they don't win this division, it's one of the biggest collapses in modern history. I think easily the Dodgers should come away with this division. So we have the Dodgers winning the division, and I think getting the number 1 seed in the NL. The Diamondbacks finishing in second, the Padres finishing in third, the Rockies finishing fourth, and the Giants finishing last. And your 2 wild card teams for the 2020 season are the Diamondbacks and the Nationals. I think they will be playing in the wild card game. So now let's go to NL Awards, and then we can get into these postseason picks. All right, NL Awards. Rookie of the Year, Cy Young, MVP. Your Rookie of the Year is going to be Joey Bart, catcher for the Giants. This guy is a stud. He's going to easily just plug in and replace Buster Posey. I think he's going to break out this year. I think he wins NL Rookie of the Year. Your Cy Young winner, Jack Flaherty. This guy is an absolute stud. Didn't he have like a sub-1 ERA in like September last year? This dude ended on an absolute tear. He could not be stopped. And I think in a shortened season, if he stays on that tear through a 60-game stretch, he's going to be unstoppable. I really think Jack Flaherty's coming away with the Cy Young this year. I like him a lot. And your NL MVP, people are going to hate me for this, but I have to do it. Ketel Marte. This guy is a switch-hitting stud. Did you guys see the home run he hit in the Dodgers Diamondbacks scrimmage game? That was crushed. That was one of the hardest home runs I've ever seen. This dude can absolutely rake. He's a switch hitter. He plays pretty good defense. I love this guy. I think he had an MVP caliber season last year. I say he breaks through the roof this year and wins NL MVP. So now let's get into playoff picks. We'll start with the wild card games. In the AL, we have seeding first. Your seeding for the AL is going to go number 1 seed Twins, number 2 seed Yankees, 3 seed A's, 4 seed Rays, 5 seed Angels. For the NL, we'll go 1 seed Dodgers, 2 seed Reds, 3 seed Braves, 4 seed Nationals, 5 seed Diamondbacks. So, wild card game. In the AL, you have the Rays and the Angels. I'm taking the Rays. In the NL, you have the Diamondbacks and Nationals. I'm taking the Nationals. Division series for the AL, we have Twins and Rays. I'm taking Rays. And then we have A's and Yankees. I'm taking Yankees. And then Rays, Yankees. I'm taking the Rays. They make the World Series. Love this team. They're full of studs. They're the new age Moneyball team. I love the Rays. They're making the World Series. I love their potential in a 60-game season. NL, we have Dodgers, Nationals. Dodgers get their revenge. I'm taking the Dodgers. Who are the other 2 teams? Oh, we have Reds and Braves. I'm taking the Reds. Reds, Dodgers, I'm taking the Dodgers. And then in the World Series for 2020, I think your 2020 World Series champions will be the Los Angeles Dodgers. This team is, I think, far and away the best team in baseball. I really think that they're going to end up winning the World Series. They have so much talent on the team, and I really think that they are the favorites and that they're going to win the World Series. And not to toot my own horn, but in 2016, I picked the Cubs. They won it. In 2017, I picked the Astros. They won it. 2018, I picked the Red Sox. They won it. Last year, I picked the Astros, and they were 9 outs away, but couldn't close it out. So I'm pretty much 3 for 4 in World Series picks. You're welcome, Dodgers. You guys are going to win the World Series this year. A wise person might have noticed that this is my 3rd shirt because this is day 3 of filming this video. Just share this with your friends. Anybody who likes baseball, show it to them. But just remember, all it can take is a fast start to the season. With 60 games, that's all you need. It's a sprint. Any team can win it. Just remember who started 13-2 last year and who hit 10 home runs in his first 7 games.
Just an interesting thing to point out. Did Tim Beckham get him again? Tim Beckham got him!